The executive floor of Horizon Dynamics had never been so quiet. Employees stood outside the CEO's office, exchanging worried glances as muffled cries echoed through their hallway. Inside, Victoria Grant, the company's brilliant CEO, was kneeling beside her 8-year-old son, Liam. Liam was nonverbal and autistic. Loud noises, unfamiliar environments, and sudden changes could become overwhelming for him. That morning, a fire alarm test had unexpectedly gone off during a visit to his mother's office. Since then, Liam had been in severe distress. Doctors, therapists, and specialists who happened to be nearby had tried to help. Nothing worked. Victoria held her son gently, tears forming in her eyes. "Please, sweetheart," she whispered. "You're safe." But Liam remained overwhelmed, unable to respond. Word spread quickly through the building. Someone even joked that whoever could calm Liam deserved a fortune. Victoria immediately corrected them. "I mean it," she said. "I'll personally pay $750,000 to anyone who can help my son." The hallway fell silent. Several professionals stepped forward. Each tried a different approach. Each failed. Hours passed. Then, quietly pushing a cleaning cart down the hallway, came Ethan Brooks. A widowed single father working as the building's night janitor. He noticed the crowd but didn't ask questions. One employee explained the situation. Instead of rushing forward, Ethan simply asked, "May I sit near him?" Victoria hesitated. She had nothing left to lose. She nodded. Ethan left his cleaning supplies outside the office. He walked in slowly. No sudden movements. No loud voice. No promises that he could fix anything. He simply sat on the floor several feet away from Liam. He didn't look directly at him. He didn't touch him. For nearly a minute. He said nothing. The room remained perfectly still. Then Ethan spoke. One quiet word. "Trains." Victoria frowned slightly. The therapists exchanged confused looks. Nothing happened. Then, Liam stopped crying. His breathing slowed. His head turned. For the first time in nearly 3 hours, he looked toward Ethan. The janitor smiled softly. "Blue train." Liam blinked. A tiny nod. The room froze. Victoria covered her mouth. Ethan reached into his pocket and pulled out a small keychain shaped like an old blue locomotive. He placed it gently on the floor between them. Without another word, Liam slowly crawled over, picked it up, and wrapped both hands around it. The office was completely silent. Victoria looked at Ethan in disbelief. "How?" she whispered. Ethan glanced at the little train. Then at Liam. "I think," he said quietly, "I've met someone like him before." And everyone in the room realized the quiet janitor was carrying a story no one had ever thought to ask about. Victoria remained on her knees, unable to take her eyes off her son. Only minutes earlier, Liam had been overwhelmed by the unexpected alarm. Now he sat quietly on the carpet, gently turning the little blue train over in his hands. No one in the room spoke. They were afraid to interrupt the moment. Finally, Victoria looked at Ethan. "What did you mean, you've met someone like him before?" Ethan smiled softly. "My daughter." The room grew even quieter. "My daughter, Sophie, is autistic too," he explained. When she was younger, trains were her favorite thing in the world. She carried one everywhere. He pulled out his wallet and showed Victoria a worn photograph. In it, a much younger Sophie was smiling while holding the very same blue locomotive. "She gave it back to me last year," Ethan said. "She told me, Dad, another child might need it someday." Victoria felt tears fill her eyes. The tiny train in Liam's hands wasn't a special medical device. It wasn't expensive. It was simply something meaningful that Ethan had carried because of his daughter's kindness. One of the therapists stepped forward. "You didn't force interaction," she said. "You waited." Ethan nodded. When Sophie became overwhelmed, I learned that rushing her usually made things harder. Sometimes the best way to help is to make the world quieter instead of asking a child to adapt to it. Victoria looked at her son again. Liam had begun rolling the little train back and forth across the carpet. For the first time that day, he looked peaceful. After a while, Liam slowly stood up. To everyone's surprise, he walked over to Ethan. Without saying a word, he gently placed the train back into Ethan's hand. Then he gave Ethan a brief hug. Several employees quietly wiped away tears. Victoria couldn't hold back hers. She hugged her son, then turned to Ethan. "You saved my little boy today." Ethan shook his head gently. "No." He looked at Liam. He found his way back. "I just gave him some space." The next morning, Victoria asked Ethan to meet her in her office. On her desk sat an envelope. Inside was a check for $750,000. "You promised this," Ethan said. "I did," Victoria replied. Ethan carefully closed the envelope and slid it back across the desk. "I can't accept it." Victoria looked surprised. "Why not?" "Because I didn't help your son for money." Instead, Ethan made a different request. "If you really want to thank me, use that money to create a sensory-friendly room in this building and provide autism awareness training for your employees. It'll help for more families than it would help me." Victoria smiled through her tears. "You've just given me the best idea this company has ever received." Within months, the new program opened. The company created quiet spaces, flexible workplace policies, and support resources for employees with autistic children and neurodivergent team members. Other businesses soon began copying the initiative. At the opening ceremony, Victoria invited Ethan and Sophie as guests of honor. Liam walked confidently towards Sophie. He smiled and held out the little blue train. Sophie smiled back. "I think you should keep it now," she said. Liam hugged the train tightly. Victoria watched the children together and realized something important. The greatest gift Ethan had given her wasn't a way to calm her son. It was a new understanding. Sometimes helping someone doesn't begin with having all the answers. It begins with patience, listening, and meeting them where they are. As the ceremony ended, Victoria looked at Ethan. "You refused $750,000. Ethan smiled. "I already got something worth more." He looked at Liam, who was laughing quietly while rolling the blue train across the floor. That smile. And everyone in the room understood exactly what he meant.